Hi guys, it's Stephanie Grams, CEO and founder of the Keepsake Business Academy. And today is April 16th, 2024. And I was just going to share a quick personal story on how the Keepsake Business Academy even came to life, basically. So, in case you don't know me, you can always find some of this information at stephaniegrams.com. And that's where the blog and the free newsletter is, by the way. So, I learned to sew when I was 7 years old. So that's been over 40 years now. And I started with little things like we called it candle wicking. I don't know why my grandma called it that. But it's basically hand embroidery. And so she taught me that and how to make those fabric yo yo's. And there's another name for them, but I never say it right. So it's suffix box, pulp, something like that. And so I did that for years, just practicing my hand stitching. And it was just something fun to bypass the time and things like that. Um, and I learned how to draft patterns by hand using pencils, tape measures, a seam gauge, and brown paper grocery bags. And I watched my mom and grandma do that. I was not allowed to use the sewing machine because she had one of the really old Singer sewing machines with like the turn wheel. I mean, it was electric, it had a foot pedal, but it wasn't like anything we have today. So I never learned how to use a sewing machine from my grandma. That came much later in life. Um, but I took all those hand sewing skills and just played around with them on and off for years. And then around the mid 1990s, I became a 16-year-old pregnant teenager, and I went ahead and graduated before my actual senior class. I went on to get my GED, and I graduated before all my peers. And then from there, went on and raised my children, got married, went to college, and all of that. And in between all those years, I added five more children to my family, and finished college. But some major things happened in my life during that time. So one thing was I had a miscarriage shortly after my first child was born. And then several years later, my youngest child, Hannah, passed away when she was just a little over 1 years old. And during all of those life events, I picked up sewing again, and I just made odds and ends, really. I made curtains and valances and pillow fronts and hand embroidered like different panels. Panels were really big back then. You could get pretty much a panel for anything. And I made, instead of a wreath, we had panels to make door hangers and, just decorate your front door, that kind of thing. And they're slowly coming back in popularity, by the way. And I taught a few classes to like Girl Scouts and 4-H, and then I homeschooled my daughters and taught them how to hand sew. Only one really enjoys it to this day. The other ones don't like it at all. But if they have to sew a button, I have confidence they could do that. But all of these life experiences started building up over time, and I didn't really pay much attention to how these life experiences were building one on top of the other. And then we come to around 2003, like 2003, 2005. It had been a few years. So my youngest daughter, passed away in 2001. So a few years later, I picked up sewing in a different way, and it was through mixed media art. And I really liked the primitive country kind of weird looking stuff, I guess. It's weird to some people. Some of us really like the primitive look. And so I made these commissioned art dolls, frogs, and one was like this honeybee lady, and just odds and ends, right? Where you take different mediums and put them together, different types of fabrics, buttons, wire and beads and paint, and use different types of art skills to create these items. And so I was just showing this information. I was showing these pictures online on Facebook, and this is around, um, I think it was around 2016 or 2017. I'd have to look through my timeline. And a complete stranger, we weren't even connected on Facebook, saw some pictures I was posting of these art dolls. And she asked if I would make memory bears. And at that time, I had no idea what a memory bear was. And I went ahead and told her yes. At that point, I'd never even made a stuffed animal at all. But, I did my research and I knew enough about sewing that I figured I knew what I was doing. And then came questions I couldn't find answers to. And I was always taught, if you have a question, ask somebody that's doing whatever it is you're trying to do. And usually people will try to help you. And that was not the case. I reached out to different people online. And again, we didn't have any personal connections at all. I just knew they made these memory bears and I had questions, but they were pretty much rude to me. And so I figured, you know what? I'm going to learn this and I'm going to excel. And then I'm going to teach this. And so that's why I now have the Keepsake Business Academy.com, because that's what I do. I teach all of this, everything I didn't know, I teach now. I don't hold back any secrets to any of my paying students. The students that I have now with the current or with the December, January, so it was during the winter session, they're excelling in all of their goals. And then the students I had 2 years ago continue to excel. And so I reopened it for spring, summer of 2024. So there is some room left for you if this is something you're interested in. And I do add fresh content every month to the students portal. And then we have a private Facebook group for paying students where I add weekly social media help. One little side note that might be helpful for you is I spent 15 years with marketing and publicity as an online business manager. And back in the olden days, we called it a virtual assistant. But over the years, that term is it's just an umbrella term. It's just a generic term like secretary or executive assistant. But my specialty was building websites, writing newsletters, submitting press releases, writing articles, blogging as a ghostwriter, SEO. I did all the things. And so now I do these things for my paying students. I really truly believe that the Lord has blessed me in so many different areas that one time I never even thought of them as being related to one another until He brought me to this point in my life with the academy. I'm very much an introvert, and so this really pulls me out of my comfort zone, and I do my best with the filming and all of that. But I am here. One thing, for one thing, you can go to keepsakebusinessacademy.com and look at all of the content or topics that we discuss in the classes. But there's a lot of bonuses, and I haven't even updated that part yet to include the weekly social media marketing help that I give inside the private group. If you have questions, you can always ask me. It's best that you reach me through the blog at stephaniegrams.com. Get on the newsletter because I do read the requests and questions from my newsletter subscribers at stephaniegrams.com. But again, the Academy is Keepsake Business Academy, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.